Hello, loves. Welcome back to my channel. Keisha here, obviously. And today's video is just gonna be nice, laid back, relaxed. Got my blanket here. I got my incense lit in the background. Just a nice vibe for you all. I'm creating through this video. So I really hope that you can feel my positive and high vibe energy through the screen as you are watching this. But today we're going to be talking about the importance of reconnecting to your pleasure as a woman when it comes to your work, your career, your job. Maybe you're an entrepreneur, whatever the case might be. This is something that is severely lacking for many of us as women, and it is showing. When I'm talking about the high levels of stress, dissatisfaction in career, burnout, doing something that doesn't fulfill you whatsoever, but you're just showing up to work every day because you have bills to pay, right? And that's pretty much the only reason you're there. Complete lack of connection and relationship and community through the work that we're doing, giving and giving and giving to everyone else, but not making sure that we are taken care of. The list goes on and on and on. So it's important that we talk about it, and it's really a big part of my work and why I love helping women find what their soul purpose is in this life. Because when you're connected to your soul purpose career, sometimes we call it a dream job, right? But even then, the dream job can sometimes turn into a nightmare, and then we end up feeling stuck and stressed in that job that we thought was going to be the solution to our problems anyway. But I'm really passionate about this work because it's not just about money. It's not just about work. It really boils down to when a woman is deriving pleasure from the work that she's doing in the world, she is healthy, she's happy, she's glowing, and everyone wins. Every single person on earth wins when a woman is living her best life. And we need women like you living your best life, as in no more settling, no more doing things out of obligation that you really don't want to be doing. It's time to open yourself up to a new way of being, which the world is slowly but surely awakening to this as well, which is that we need women taking their power back in every single way possible. And we're learning that women trying to operate in this hyper masculine way of life, this toxic masculine way of life, is really doing a disservice to all of us. So I wanted to talk about it. So I know firsthand what it's like to be completely disconnected from pleasure when it comes to career. That's exactly what led me to burn out as a mental health therapist. That's exactly what caused me to experience anxiety and depression, because work just became something that I felt like I had to do it. It wasn't something I loved doing. I wasn't excited to get up and go to work every day. And I think we've all been conditioned to believe that that's normal, that it's normal to hate your job, that it's normal to have to force yourself to go into work, no matter how bad you feel, no matter what your instincts are telling you, no matter what your body is telling you. We're supposed to ignore all of that and continue to go into work every single day. And I did that for a period of time too. And as I just explained, it led me to burnout. So it took me a period of about maybe 2 years to fully recover from burnout, because that's how bad it was. That's how long I had ignored what my body was telling me to do, because I was conditioned, like everyone else, to think that hating my job was normal. So it's taken me about 2 years to fully recover from burnout. And now I'm in the place where I'm feeling joyful again. I feel radiant again. Like I'm happy just for the sake of being happy. And I'm creating a very abundant life for myself in a way that I wouldn't have thought was possible before, based on the programming and conditioning that I had been receiving my whole life. So let's talk about what it looks like to experience pleasure in your work. Chances are, if you're in the United States of America, you may be one of the 85% of people in this country who hate their jobs, who feel completely unsatisfied and unfulfilled in their work. So it actually is normal to hate your job in the sense that most people hate their jobs, but it's completely unhealthy. And it's really time for us to take a stand for ourselves and the kind of life that we really desire to be living, because no one is gonna hand it to you. No one's gonna just like assume that this is what you want and then bend over backwards to make you happy. You have to set your own standards. You have to set your own boundaries. So I talked in my last video about overcoming the guilt related to quitting your job, right? Which is part of our social conditioning and our good girl, people pleaser conditioning. So I just want to reiterate that when you learn to trust your intuition and you learn to listen to your body and do what your body is telling you to do, in the beginning, it is going to be terrifying because you're going against everything that you've been taught. You're going against traditional society by really listening to yourself, by trusting yourself. And the fear and the guilt and all of the things that come up can tempt you into thinking that you're making the wrong decision. I just want to remind you, it's always the right decision to follow your intuition. And you know this on a deep down soul level. You know when something's not right for you. You know when you're forcing yourself to do something and it feels like struggle and effort, and it's just honestly making you mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically sick, right? So how can that be the right thing for you when it's having such a detrimental effect on your total well-being? So you have to learn how to trust your intuition. That's probably the most important part when it comes to pursuing a life of pleasure in your career. Trusting your intuition, knowing that if you're being guided away from something, you are being guided towards something else. The hard part is because our human mind really freaks out whenever we're in a space of uncertainty. It makes it very hard for us to trust ourselves because your gut will give you the truth and then your brain will start to second guess your truth, and then it gets really confusing and you start to feel like, well, maybe I'm not making the right decision after all. Nope, your gut is the truth. That is your gut, your instinct, your intuition. That's all more intelligent than the human mind. And making decisions from your mind, like from a purely logical place, isn't necessarily the best thing for you to do because your mind, again, operates from a fear-based place. So if you're making decisions from fear, you're still not going to end up getting what you want anyway. You're probably delaying some discomfort and some pain, but in the long term, ignoring your intuition is always going to bring you more pain, even if it happens further down the road. So give yourself permission to start pursuing pleasure. And a good way to start doing that, if you're not quite ready to maybe take some leaps in your career or make major changes in your work, start doing it in day-to-day life. Like, women from birth we're taught and conditioned that our pleasure doesn't matter, right? And when I talk about pleasure, yes, I do mean sexual pleasure, because of course that's part of it, but I'm also talking about sensual pleasure, like pleasure through your senses, taste and touch and like sound and all of these things. We're taught that our pleasure doesn't matter because we're taught we're supposed to put our pleasure aside in order to take care of other people's needs. But your pleasure does matter. And when you're disconnected from your pleasure, it creates all kinds of issues because you start to be confused about what it is that you really want, right? What brings you pleasure is what you want. But if you're taught that your pleasure doesn't matter, then you're doing what other people want, which isn't really what you want. And so that creates a lot of confusion, which is why we have a lot of women sometimes saying, well, I don't know what to do. I don't trust myself, right? Or I know I have intuition, but I feel like I can't connect to it. I feel like I'm not getting any answers from it. All of that is a result of the conditioning that you've experienced that taught you that your pleasure doesn't matter. I think the clearest way to find your connection to your intuition again, if you feel like you can't really hear it or it's not very clear, is to get back to doing the things that bring you pleasure for the sake of pleasure. Like no objective, no end game, no ulterior motive, just doing things because it makes you happy. That's it, okay? Now, of course, when I say this, I have to be careful about, not just doing things to like cover up some deeper wounds or to put a band-aid over something that's a bigger problem. I'm not talking about that kind of stuff. I'm really talking about like pure pleasure, and not making yourself wrong for whatever that is. Like if it's coming from a really healthy place, if it's coming from like a supported place, if it's coming from an intuitive place, then go for it. And don't judge yourself for it by saying, well, this is silly that I want this, or I shouldn't want something that's superficial. The only thing that really makes it wrong is the judgment that you have about it. And the judgment that you have about it is the conditioning that you've picked up from other people, right? So this deconditioning process is going to entail you learning, relearning what it is that makes you feel good, what it is that brings you joy for the sake of joy, and not making yourself wrong or judging yourself for the things that you desire. If like you love food and like tasting delicious food like turns you on and brings you pleasure, start to treat yourself to good meals. And don't see it as a waste of money. See it as an investment in your own well-being, because it is. Again, when you're making yourself happy and treating yourself well, that energy that you start to emit is only going to come back to you, and life gets better, more fun, more pleasurable. And if it's something like getting into your body, like, do you love to dance? Why don't you go and take a dance class and do something you've never done with your body? You know, take like a pole class or like a heels class where you put on a pair of heels and just get sexy and into your body again. Belly dancing, hip hop, whatever it is. Like, just get in touch with your body again as a woman. You will start to awaken these parts of yourself that you've probably been neglecting for a long time. And so these are just examples. You have to find what really speaks to you and what resonates with you. But I know like connecting to your body is the quickest way to get out of your head and really start to connect with your truth again, your inner wisdom, your inner knowing, that inner guidance that's always trying to communicate to you. Get into your body, find your pleasure. Another way to tap into pleasure as women, we're so tribal, and community is so important to us. Now, as a result of being in like a hyper masculine world, we sometimes get cut off from that, right? We don't commune with other women. And I don't know about you, and I'm sure you can agree, like after you've had like a really nice night with some good girlfriends, don't you just feel like refreshed and renewed and reborn? Like you feel like you know who you are again, right? When you laugh and you tell stories and you're so carefree with your best friends, like that is just like a huge source of pleasure for women. And it's the quickest way to like recharge your batteries when you're starting to feel depleted or stressed out. And connecting with a group of women who are also in their power, or maybe going through this journey of like deconditioning themselves and really connecting to who they are, that's going to be a really huge source of support for you. I cannot stress this enough. Deconditioning yourself from being a people pleaser, a good girl, from living in a hyper masculine world, you're going to need a lot of support as you do this, because you're going to doubt yourself. You're going to question, am I doing the right thing? Am I selfish for wanting this? Is this a bad decision? And you really need that community of women to act as a sounding board for you, to remind you of who you are, to also like light your fire when your fire starts to diminish, because they have their own spark as well. So there's just no end to the benefits of having a supportive group of women. And if you don't have that locally, there are so many groups online, so many Facebook groups that are all about this now these days. You can even join my Facebook group through the link in the description box as well, because we're all about stepping into our feminine as well and building community. So you're welcome to join us. But that's going to be huge in terms of the deconditioning process. And you can also start to decondition yourself in your work, right? So traditionally we're taught, okay, we have this 9-to-5 structure, and depending on where you work, you might work in like a cubicle with like really bad lighting and like a very cold, sterile place, because the company may or may not care about how well you're functioning. They just care that you're like doing your work, right? So even little things of like, how can you warm up your workspace? Can you bring in some plants? Can you maybe bring in like pictures of like positive memories, people that you love? Can you decorate a little bit to like add some color, brighten it up, those kinds of things? and really start to see how you can take better care of yourself while you're at work. Things like taking some time, a few minutes to meditate at work, doing some yoga at your desk, in your chair. There are lots of resources that you can look into on YouTube and websites that provide you with information on how to do chair yoga, all kinds of things like that. Making sure that you're eating well at work, not like working through your lunch break, and staying hydrated, and all of these things are really important to connecting back to your body and increasing your pleasure. Now, if you've kind of gotten to the point where you know it's time to leave your workplace, like for some people, you might know, man, I'm so sick of working for someone else. I really want to become an entrepreneur. Or you feel like the career field that you've been in has sucked the life out of you, and you're ready to pursue something that brings you more joy, something that allows you to express yourself more authentically, something that gives you more freedom and creativity and all of these things. Trust that. Like, if you have to start planning, like create an exit strategy for yourself, ask yourself, okay, well, I want to have more freedom in my life. So what do I need to have in place in order to leave this job? What do I need to have in place to feel secure enough to start my own business? And then start acting accordingly. Like, it doesn't always have to be some like big leap into the unknown of like, okay, I'm gonna take a big scary risk now. For some of us, it's like that. Some people thrive just being like, okay, I'm done with this job. Boom, I quit. Now I'm gonna start a business. Some people are like that. If you're not like that, and you know you need to plan in order to feel secure, there's nothing wrong with that. But actually make sure you're planning. Don't just keep telling yourself, one day I'll do this and next year I'll do that. You need to start taking concrete measures day to day, week to week, to create your exit strategy so that you feel like you have a little bit of a safety net in place as you're quitting your job and as you're starting a business or whatever the case might be. Lastly, or maybe not lastly, but when it comes to connecting with pleasure, I think physical, sensual pleasure is a huge part of that. And when we're stressed out as women, that's kind of like the first thing to go. Like, who's gonna be, for a lot of us, not all of us, but a lot of women, when we're stressed out, we're not thinking about sex. We're not thinking about intimacy or romance. We're just trying to get through the day, right? And then the fact that it's not a priority, not only does it wreak havoc on us, because sex and romance and intimacy and sensuality is really, really good for you. Like, it reduces your stress. It makes you feel sexy and beautiful. It makes you feel powerful, confident. Your self-esteem goes up. You love your body more. All of these things are really important to us. All of these things are the first thing to go out the window when we're stressed out. So make an intentional practice to connect to your sexuality and your sensuality again. And you don't even need a partner to do this. In fact, I think it's a beautiful thing to learn what turns you on and what pleases you, whether you have a partner or not, since so many of us as women never learned. It was always taught to us that our sexuality was something to be ashamed of, or to repress, or to hide, or to act like it doesn't even exist. And if that's been the case for you, what better time than now to reconnect with that part of yourself? Like, look at yourself in the mirror, tell yourself how beautiful you are, and like how much you like what you see, and see what feels good to you. And if you do have a partner, involve your partner in that process as well. I'm sure they're not going to complain about it, right? Because your partner wants you healthy, happy, and in your pleasure as well. So I think I'm going to end this video right here for now, just because we're going on 20 minutes and there's really so much I could say. But if this is resonating with you and you want to see more content like this about reconnecting with your pleasure, your power, and how it applies to your career, please go ahead and leave me comments, give this video a thumbs up, because that's really the only way that I know that you like this content. Otherwise, I have no idea. And if you have some women in your life that you feel would benefit from the things that I'm talking about, please, please, please share my channel with them. Ask them if they would like to subscribe. Get them commenting on my videos as well, because the more support I have on my videos, the more I can continue this YouTube channel, because a lot of creative energy goes into this. I don't edit my videos. I don't plan out what I'm gonna say. I don't write anything down. This is truly like what happens when I open myself up to receive and like divine flow is like coming straight through me and out into the world. And that's when I do my best work. So sometimes I might stutter and lose my train of thought in the process, but I don't edit it. So you get what you get. And I want to make sure there's not anything else I want to say. Oh, you deserve to feel pleasure in every area of your life. And if you're cut off from pleasure in one area of your life, I guarantee you're cut off from pleasure in every area of your life, because you can't just close yourself off and limit yourself off in one area and expect that it's not going to affect everything else. So if you're not happy and thriving and like feeling pleasure in the work that you're doing every day, it's limiting you in your romantic relationships. It's limiting you in your finances. It's definitely limiting you in your finances, because money loves the energy of like a woman who is lit up, confident, turned on, doing what makes her happy. That's when the money starts to flow. And it's going to be affecting you in your friendships as well, because you are not going to be able to be as open to give if you are not getting what you need in your own life. And considering how important our work is and how many hours that we're spending every single day working, you deserve to be like creatively fulfilled, and to feel free in your work, and to feel like your work is just like this juicy, like passionate, soulful, sexy thing that you're so excited to be able to do every day. And yes, that's possible for you too. I never thought it was possible for me, and I struggled for a long time to try to find what it is that I was meant to do, which is why I'm so connected to this work and helping other women find that. And this goes beyond just your dream job, because like I was saying earlier, sometimes we think a dream job is what we want, but it's really just more conditioning. We only think it's the dream because of what we have been taught we should care about. It's not really what our true self really wants. So that is why I call what I do soul purpose, like your soul purpose career coaching, because we all have a purpose, and there's no reason why you can't be paid abundantly for your purpose, be in your pleasure as you're expressing yourself creatively, authentically, all of these things in your work. I think it all goes hand in hand. So if this resonates and you are ready to find out, okay, what exactly am I here to do? How can I express myself fully in my work? What lights me up? What am I excited about? What am I passionate about? What would get me jumping out of bed every single day to create and share and give and serve? What is that thing for me? You don't have to settle for anything less than that. And I can help you by coaching you through my 90-day coaching program, which is all about that. Deconditioning the hyper masculine in you, deconditioning the good girl and people pleaser in you, so that you can finally get to the truth of who you are as a woman, what it is that you want to do, what living your best life would look like, and more importantly, what it would feel like. You may not exactly know what you want to do, but I guarantee you know how you want to feel. And that is where it starts. Giving yourself permission to feel what you want to feel without making yourself wrong for it. So go ahead and apply for my coaching program through the link in my description box if this resonates. I also have a $21 ebook, which is called We Are Thriving, Honey. 10 Truths to Help You Quantum Leap into Your High Vibe Dream Life. And I called it that because it's everything that I needed to radically transform my life. And I also created it as a separate resource for those who are not quite ready to invest in my coaching program, but still want, to hear more from me, to experience more of my energy, how I think, and what I really needed to change my life. So that ebook is available to you if it speaks to you for $21 through the link in my bio. And yeah, I think that's all I want to say. I'm so excited to be here sharing with you on this channel. I thank you so much for watching and tuning in and sharing your thoughts with me. And I'm happy to create more content that would serve you. So just let me know what you want to hear more about. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.